Hey guys, welcome to this channel. I'm back with another Clash Royale deck, the Sparky Zapit deck. This deck is a based with challenges and 2v2 matches and also ladder match. In this video you will see perfect deck guide and understand how this deck works. With this deck you can make more wins. For that watch full video, and if you new on channel please like this video. And one more thing, for 210 subscriber there is only few left, so please subscribe to this channel for more Clash Royale deck guide. So welcome back. Let's start with some breakdown with cards. In this deck we have Giant, Sparky, Ice Wizard, Zap, Minion, Minion Horde, Goblin Baron and Goblin Gang. So our first card is Giant. Giant is your main win condition. He plays a very important role in this deck. He is your tank. Giant can be tank for your Sparky, Minion, Minion Horde and Goblin Baron. So basically Giant is your main tank. Since it is a spell bait deck, you can use Giant on defense also. Second card is Ice Wizard. Ice Wizard is your main defensive swarm cleaner card. This card can counter glass cannon and melee troop in cheap cost of only 3 elixir. This guy should be your defensive card. Use this to deal with the majority of your opponent push. Due to his health and his ability to slow opposition troop, use him wisely as he is your very important on defense, being one of your 2 defensive non-swarm troops. Third card is Goblin Baron. This is a key card to beating out spells so your Sparky, Horde or Gang make positive trade. Send them out before defending a push to either get great damage or bait out their spell, allowing defending to be a super easy. Despite not being your main win condition, it is still a semi-reliable damage dealer. Fourth card is Sparky. Sparky adds a beat element to this deck which makes it very unique. See, constantly keep your opponent forcing a reaction or they will substance massive damage. On defense, you want to force your opponent to use his spell to be able to play Sparky, Horde and Goblin Gang without a risk. Place her behind a Giant and pair with it your swarm troops for an unstoppable push after your opponent has used their spells. Know your opponent has a defensive card that counters swarms. Throw Sparky into the push and not only she bait spells, if left allowing she will take out their defensive troops. Fifth card is Minions. Use this card to bait out maybe a fireball or arrows. Giant plus Minions push usually draws out their light spells, so if they lack a spell like fireball or splash unit, it is a green light to play your Minion Horde. On defense, these guys work great, but if your opponent use their spells, then your Minion Horde can dominate. Sixth card is Minion Horde. This card can be punishment for your opponent to bad play of their counter of swarms. Pair with Giant for a powerful push after your opponent has used their counter. You should refrain from using the offensively if your opponent hasn't used their counter, as this will just be a massive negative trade. Seventh card is Goblin Gang. These guys are amazing on defense and almost always beat out some form of spell or splash damage troops. If you haven't caught yet, you want to capitalize on this mistake. If caught without a counter, Goblin Gang is super threatening. So don't be afraid to place this card along with Giant in the pocket to pressure the opponent. Just make sure it won't be end up in massive negative trade. Your last card is Zap, your only spell. Use it wisely as serves multiple jobs like clearing swarm and resetting attackers.
Gameplay. First minute, play it slow in single elixir, don't go too aggressive. Try to figure out how you can beat out your opponent's spell. Keep track of their counters and constantly use your Goblin Baron whenever you add 10 elixir. If you notice your opponent has used one of his counter to your Minion or Minion Horde, punish them.
Second minute, by now, hopefully you have done 2 things. Dealt some early damage. It doesn't have to be a lot, because this is a beat down deck where you make a few large push to crush your opponent. Identify your opponent Giant, Sparky, Minion Horde counter. You will either want to beat out the counter or counter them with the cards of your own. But to do that, you need to make sure that card you use to counter your opponent have no answer for that. Now it is time to play more offensively. Now you should constantly be a throwing goblin barrel to try to bait out their spells to enable to you play your spellable card on defense along with offense. It is important that you start getting damage early because without a heavy spell it is difficult to get more damage. End of the game. You should start being really aggressive now, making giant push often, constantly throw goblin barrels, try to get cheap damage and beat their counter. Use Sparky aggressively, whether it's on defense or offense. She will be able to get lots of value if used properly, but play her smart. If you know your opponent has rocket, don't play to her next to your tower. Same with every spell, don't give them a value. Keep pushing but play smart. Instead of matchup, I am going to quickly go over the mindset you are going to want to have while playing this deck, because as a bid deck, it is a very important. On defense, you want to force your opponent to use his spell to able to play Sparky, Horde or Goblin Gang without a risk. This is a bait element, but your end goal here is to get your opponent into a position where they have no good counter to your minion horde or your Sparky behind that giant and then crush your opponent. Try to keep track of 3 counters of minions so you are able to punish your opponent after spending them. Well, that's all guys. If you have any questions about the deck or certain matchup, feel free to ask it down in the comment section below. If you want deck guide like this, please subscribe to this channel. And that is for now. See you next time. Peace.